Hey, Katrina here from Scrappy Horses. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I know this looks a little funny to be doing a Christmas project so early in the year, but we have a challenge over at Paper a la Mode that is for a man. And as I was looking through the different options, I found this great paper from Fred She Said. Just happened to be holiday, winter, Christmas paper. So I said, yeah, we're gonna do it. And I knew just the pattern I wanted to use for this paper. And that pattern is this cocoa cup that comes from my Scrap Chick and the chunky mailer envelope, also from my Scrap Chick. So let's get started on this. I made a few changes to this because I was not using a double-sided paper. Therefore, when you close the envelope on the cocoa, that's this cup right here, it folds along this dotted line right here. And as you can see, it dips down like this. So it shows this area on the other side. Well, since I was printing my own paper, I sort of ran into the issue that I didn't think about that before I printed. So I thought, oh no, I could have printed double-sided paper, which I did on my envelope. But I did not think to print both sides of the paper on the cup. So what I did to rectify this situation, I just wanted to show you how I got out of this. I took this piece right here. All right, so let's just take this away. And I just brought in a square from my shapes. And all I did is I just enlarged this and I just cut it away from about right there. So I just selected them both and I'm left clicking my mouse. All right, that chooses them both. And then I can slice. But you'll notice that my slice option feature doesn't show up right here. That is because we have on here the added cut lines, okay, or score lines. They're actually little itty bitty cuts that cut through the paper. And even though I don't have it attached at this point, it still will not cut that or slice it. So what I have to do is come into this piece right here, and I'll show you how to do this. See right here over in my right-hand column, it shows the little cup, and then it shows the little cut lines right here. It's really hard to see them, but they are there. You just make them go away. I'll do that again. So watch my cup, all right? And I'm going to come over here, back to where I was in layers. I click that eyeball and they disappear, all right? So now I can select both. And now the slice option is available to me. Slice. Boom, boom, boom. I can delete all of this away by hitting delete on my keyboard. And now it's gone. I also could have used this delete button over here on the right-hand column over here. Now, here's the important thing to remember is you're going to have to reverse this before you cut it. So I'm going to bring all this back and I'm going to show you what I mean. All right. Okay, so here we are back to the beginning. We have this cup before we sliced it. Here's our sliced piece. Okay. Looks perfect, right? But when you cut it, remember, this is going to be flipped because we're going to be gluing this to the inside of that. So before you cut this piece for the inside, you have to come over here to your flip button and say, I want to flip this horizontally. because you're going to be gluing it not to this side, but to the inside. All right, so that's a very important thing to remember. Okay, make sure you flip that horizontally. Okay, so here's our little snowflake, and it comes with your cup of cocoa from my scrap chick. This little pattern comes along with it. I went ahead and imported my papers from Fred, she said, and I went ahead and used cut and print for those. I did not use cut and print for my cup, my envelope, or the inside of the envelope because it won't print and cut that large. You have to keep in mind that this measured 9.45 by 10.619, and the cup measured 9.323 by 5.7. Those were just too large. So what I did is I printed the paper on my printer, then just put that on my Cricut mat and cut these. So this was my green stripe, this is my gold snowflake, and this is the red and green print. This blue is cut from the same paper as the green. I just did it to show that it was something different. So let's go to Make It because I want to show you something there. I'm going to hit On Mat and then go to Continue. Here's our print and cut. These are just the words that I had typed out. We don't have to worry about that. But I want to show you something. Look, the score lines were not on any of these. See how they're separate? So if you choose to get these from my scrap chick, you need to go ahead and add, even though they're right there and they look like they are attached, they're not. So select, click Attach over here. Need to move these words away. Select it all. Attach, not flatten, attach. And then the same thing for this red piece, attach. Now let's go to Make It and you'll see the difference. So on a mat, continue. Here are the pieces we're going to print and cut. And now there they are, exactly where they are supposed to be. All right. Now this time it ended up going over 12 inches on my mat. Let me tell you a little secret, okay? You can take your paper and move it slightly down to about 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so just move your paper down to about where this line is, and you will be able to cut the whole piece. All right, I promise. It will all cut. So if you put a 12 by 12 sheet of paper on, you'll be fine. Even though this does extend just past 12, just scoot your paper down on your mat and it'll be fine. Okay? That's another little tip I wanted to give you, that if sometimes you have something that just extends slightly over, just scoot your paper down a little bit because you have plenty of room up there that it cuts below that line, and you almost 100% of the time you're going to make it. Now, you can't put it like all your paper all the way down here and expect it to cut something that you've put there. All right, so you can't move your paper down to like 1/2 an inch and then move this up to 1/4 of an inch. It is going to chop off part of your envelope top. But that's another tip for you. If you have something that extends over and you have a flat edge like this and you have the room that you can spare 1/4 of an inch, then that's another possibility. For example, on some kinds of boxes that have the sides that flip in and you don't see them because they're glued inside the box, sometimes you can trim those shorter. And if you put those on the edge and it clips them off a little bit, then you're still safe. Okay, so there's a little Cricut tip for you. Here's our cup, and you'll notice that our little lines are there. All right, So we're going to cancel this, but I've already cut and I'm all ready to go. So I'll meet you at the craft table. Here we are at the craft table, and we have all of the pieces that we cut in Design Space. We start off with our little snowflake pieces that we print and cut. The top one we actually just cut, and I just did white cardstock, and you'll see what I'm going to do with that here in a minute. Here's the bottom layer of the snowflake in the gold. Again, these papers are from Fred She Said. That's the inside liner for my cup, and then my cup. That piece was the inside liner of the envelope, and there's the large chunky envelope. Now, remember I told you that the lines are not embossed. They're actually little itty bitty cut lines. It's almost like perforated sort of. So it's very easy to fold these. I did not need to go back in and use a tool to get them sharp or anything. It worked out just great, just doing it with my hands. All right, now you can see here that I only printed half of the page to save on my printer ink. That's another little tip for you. If you know that you only want it, that it's only going to show part way, then sometimes you just don't have to print your entire page, and it saves you a little bit of money and a little bit of ink. So that's how the inside liner is going to fit into that envelope. So when I go ahead and I fold this in, I want to crease those in the opposite direction as the other folds so that it'll just lay in there nicely. And when I put these together, I will line up those fold lines. All right, here's the little cup with the little flaps. And I'm going to go ahead and ink all of these pieces. This is New England Ivy from Close to My Heart, a retired color. I'm sure it's not available anymore. All right, there I am putting that little liner in. So you can see now how that's going to work. Otherwise, I would have had a white handle on my cup, and the top little oval piece at the top would have shown as white. But now with this piece in, it'll all be that fun, festive green stripe. I thought this paper was so perfect, especially for guys' Christmas, because it's just such fun patterns and colors, but definitely not feminine necessarily. So be very nice for a country card too, which I enjoy doing. So there I'm pointing out that yes, see, it's all patterned now. And now all I need to do is glue this into place. So I'll put some tape and some glue onto those side flaps. And just, as I fold it over, then it will go ahead and adhere. I am going to ink this first before I glue it. And I apologize, I didn't catch the gluing on the recording. I had just a heck of a time getting this recorded this time. I was listening to a horse podcast as I was making this, and I didn't hear the camera click off when it did. So I'll know next time not to listen to something I really need to think about. All right, so there I put it up there for you in type that, yes, I did glue that together. All right, I'm finishing off this envelope with a little bit of cashmere ink, again, a retired color. And I'm leaving this part in this time because I saw an interesting comment from somebody the other day on a blog site saying that, YouTubers never have problems like, people do and all of this. I left that in to show you, oh yeah, we do. We have to wash our hands. It's just the magic of editing takes all of that out and you don't see it necessarily. So, we have to stop and wash our hands, and we have to stop and put things away or get things we forgot. So I just left that in so you'd know that, yep, we sure do. It's just real life. So don't feel like you're not as good as someone else just because, you tear something when you make it. Or, we do too. I do all the time. In fact, my biggest joke is I can't do anything CAS, clean and simple, because a project that starts out clean and simple ends up being embellished because I got ink all over it or I smudged glue somewhere. So, yeah. Okay, so anyway, enough about that. I am embossing here. You saw me put it in the big embossing ink. Now I'm pointing out all the sparkle that was left on the top. This particular glitter it's a glitter with an embossing powder, and the glitter seems to fall down to the bottom. So I always shake that before I use it. All right, I glued my liner into place, matching up those fold lines like we talked earlier. And now I'm placing a little bit of glue onto the sides of this envelope. And now I'm going to press this up carefully, retaining the dimension. Remember, there's 2 folds in this, so you don't want to just smash this down. To be sure that I actually got the glue in contact all the way through, I stuck a bone folder underneath there and just rubbed my finger along both lines, just to be sure that the glue actually did touch both pieces of cardstock and it actually did adhere. I did not use double-sided tape on that. I usually do, but this time I did not. So here it is with the pretty liner. Now, because I did print both sides, I wouldn't have needed the liner, but I wanted to show off more papers because this particular set of papers is so cute. So I wanted to show you as many different papers as I could from the collection. All the times that my camera shut off, it didn't shut off as I was gluing the snowflake, of course, so you get to watch me glue all of that. I'm just simply gluing that together, and then I will pop that right on top of that mug. I considered putting it on top of the envelope, but then I decided I wanted to do something different with that. Added a little bow bunny gem that's self-sticking, and then put the whole thing on top. Now, this is what I did with the little envelope. I took it and I wrapped this wired ribbon around it. Then I took fishing line. I strung one of those little cranberry beads, the little snowflake charm, then another little cranberry bead, and then I just tied the fishing line around the layers of ribbon. And there it is, all finished. Hey, thanks for joining me today. It's always so fun to share these projects. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below, and I'll leave you the information you need in the comment box. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.